Some members in attendance called out the fact that certain people were being excluded and barred outside and unable to gain access, and that the vote should be delayed. They proceeded anyways. It was alleged that the room was somewhat stacked in favor of Jason Kenney so that they would be able to make it more difficult, making it require 1/3 instead of only 1/4 of the vote for there to be a leadership review. Despite certain people being blocked outside and the room being stacked, the motion failed. So there is now still only 25% needed for a leadership review. So for those hoping for new leadership, a positive sign. For Jason Kenney, not so good as far as the news is concerned. Adam Sos here for Rebel News, and this is night one of the UCP AGM. We're going to be chatting with some folks, bringing you some updates on the decisions and developments that come about throughout the evening.
It's really, really important to be at these types of events. This is where the board of directors for the party is elected. This is where the rules governing how the party governs itself are decided. And it sounds really boring, like egghead stuff, and it is egghead stuff. But ultimately, if you want to be able to have control over the direction of your party, of your movement, you have to be here. If you want to be able to say when a party leader's gone over the board, or to support a party leader that you think is supporting your principles, either way. If you're not here, you're not going to have a say on that. If you want good public policy to be advanced and you're not here when it gets voted on, the MLAs don't have the support of that good piece of policy in their policy package when they go to the legislature and decide what they're going to legislate on.
You know, I just helped my auntie get vaccinated. So I guess you can say I'm an anti-vaxxer.
So some action outside just moments ago. The building was actually locked down, so we were unable to get outside, but luckily we had some friends out there filming. Pastor Artur Pawlowski and a group of protesters approached the building in an effort to protest and call for the resignation of Jason Kenney.
You may very well recall that Pastor Artur Pawlowski was arrested and held for 3 days in response to a contempt of court order that limited his church significantly as a result of COVID-19 restrictions. He was also recently given a compelled speech ruling that limits his right to criticize government on lockdowns. This is why he joined the group and attended the protest outside of the Grey Eagle Casino at the United Conservative Party AGM.
As some of that protester chaos was unfolding, some people were actually unable to enter the building. Meanwhile, there was an important policy governance vote taking place inside the UCP AGM. It was effectively structured to make it more difficult for a leadership review to be called on Jason Kenney. Some members in attendance called out the fact that certain people were being excluded and barred outside and unable to gain access, and that the vote should be delayed. They proceeded anyways. It was alleged that the room was somewhat stacked in favor of Jason Kenney so that they would be able to make it more difficult, making it require 1/3 instead of only 1/4 of the vote for there to be a leadership review. Despite certain people being blocked outside and the room being stacked, the motion failed. So there is now still only 25% needed for a leadership review. So for those hoping for new leadership, a positive sign. For Jason Kenney, not so good as far as the news is concerned. Jason Kenney not certainly as popular as he was when he won the leadership race. Questions starting to come. Brian Jean emerging as a leader. What do you make of Jason Kenney's lack of popularity? And is there enough time for him to turn it around before the next election?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question, right? So here's the problem. So you got a lot of guys on one side that think that he's not doing enough, and you got a lot of guys on the other side that think he's doing okay. He's got to do a fine line in between there somewhere. You know, you got to give the guy a break. He's got to cut that fine line, and somebody's going to be unhappy, right? There's not much you can do about it. He's either got to look after the health of the province, or he's got to look after the people that want to do their own things.
Well, no lack of action and excitement. We saw a protest come down and the building was locked down. That dissipated fairly quickly, but we did see some discussion of some important governance matters that could impact leadership of the United Conservative Party moving forward. We are going to be back here tomorrow covering the story, and indeed again on Sunday, bringing you all the updates from the United Conservative Party AGM. As always, I want to thank you for tuning in. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Sos. Hey guys, unlike some of the other media outlets out there, we don't reach into your pockets through your taxes to fund our work. We count on your generosity and willing support. If you want to help us get out to events like this and help us cover some of the costs that are involved with bringing you the other side of the story, you can chip in at realreporters.ca.